Peace be with you during this Lenten journey. I'm Bob Wilhelm, and I'm a storyteller. This story for the second Sunday of Lent, as we enter more deeply into this journey towards Easter, is a story from Ethiopia. The church in Ethiopia is one of the earliest churches, and it preserves practices and a spirituality that are very, very important for the rest of Christianity. One of the themes that appears in this story is the question of how distant are we from the source of life? How far away are we from help? What is the distance between ourselves and our neighbor and ourselves and God? That distance is always there. In our daily life, we sometimes suddenly aware of the separation that we experience from other people. It's particularly difficult if we thought we were closer to them and suddenly we're further away. And the truth is that human relationships are like that. Sometimes we move in, sometimes we move away from. And it is the same in our relationship with God. This story says that when we are transformed by love, that distance disappears. And the images that are used for this transforming love are images of light and images of warmth. They're two very important parts of human experience. The way that we see the world, the way we take the world in, the importance of light. We use the word illumination to explain many things, including an explanation of what it means when we spiritually understand. Warmth is also something that we use. It's an expression that points to our desires. We can speak about a burning desire for, a yearning for. It's a very powerful image. It's an image of sensation. It's an image of the body. And so light is an image of imagination and of intellect, and warmth is an image of feelings and the body. This story explores the ways that those two are related in our encounter with God. How do we encounter God? This Ethiopian story tells the tale of a poor man who works for a rich man. Unlike many of the stories that contrast the rich and the poor, the rich man does not get a particularly bad piece of coverage on this story. He's very, very wealthy. He's a owner of a large coffee farm, and he leads a life of leisure. But because he leads a life of leisure, he's frequently bored. And when he hears the man who is a servant just mutter something while he's doing his daily chores, the rich man sees this as an opportunity to place a bet with the other man, the poor man, about what will happen. Now the story unfolds because the poor man knows that the task before him is too great. And this is how Lent very frequently feels. It feels like we've set out on a journey, we've made commitments to hold to ourselves to a higher standard, and we find that even early in the journey we're not keeping to those standards. We're already being slack, we're falling behind. And the poor man in the story realizes even before he sets out on his journey, which involves climbing a mountain, that he needs all the help that he can get. And so he goes to the third character in the story. And this third character is a wise man. And he has such a polarity with the wealthy man. And the wise man enters into another kind of a bargain with the poor man. It's not quite a wager, but it's a bargain. It's the criteria of his spiritual discipline. He will guide him and he will help him in his task, provided that the poor man do certain things, that he practices in a certain way, that he practices journey in a way that will be difficult, but ultimately rewarding. Well, the story ends with two kinds of rewards. One is the award that the rich man gives to the poor man because he has lost his wager. But that's relatively unimportant compared to the gift that the wise man has given him. Not at the end of the journey, but in the journey itself. In the very dark night on the mountain that this poor man experiences. So I'd like to invite you to listen to the story. I'd like to invite you to retell the story. It's a very simple story. It's not complicated and it's not long. It can be told in a short version very, very quickly. It's a wonderful African tale, a perfect story for our Lenten journey. I'm Bob Wilhelm. I'm a storyteller.